Happy to be back at home. We had a successful weekend, being able to play Florida State, obviously in a doubleheader at their home, is it's very close to being in an SEC environment. So one of the reasons why we had put that on our schedule, I thought we handled it well. Had some adversity early in the game. Again, I feel like we responded really well. Just kept working, going along. And obviously finished up Sunday against a very, very good Southeastern Louisiana, who's a postseason team. Gave, heck to everybody that they played this past weekend. Went extra innings, I believe, against Florida State as well. So just a very scrappy team. So this weekend was harder than I think most people thought. Playing FAMU for a doubleheader, just doubleheaders in general. So we went from FAMU to Florida State to then kind of what you would really call a trap game on Sunday, and I thought we responded great. Lesson team obviously threw lights out. And then I was really impressed with Kate Munnerlin on Sunday. We put her back out there on the hump after her Florida State outing. I thought she handled it well. So
before I ask a real question, how about a Woolley update?
I'm hoping that this weekend she'll be able to go. We're resting her. She has a lower leg injury that we were just being precautionary. She probably could have gone this past weekend, but didn't want to risk it because if something were to go, then we don't have her for 3 to 4 weeks. So, it's pre-conference, so wanted her to rest up as much as we could.
Okay, other than winning, you always want to win games, but now with SEC right around the corner and you've had these tournaments, what do you still have to feel you have to get done before you start SEC?
I have a list. No. I still think there's some little things that we could tidy up, some defensive positioning transitions that I think we're going to address this week. I think in the circle we're moving in a good direction. I'm still not pleased with our 0-2, 1-2 pitches, to be honest with you. So getting better in that regard. I like our process hitting. I think we've done a tremendous job, but it's only going to get harder. So just understanding what we're trying to attack and at what point in the count we're trying to attack, I think is going to be huge for us. And then lastly, I would just say kind of our pre-pitch situation, whether it be base running or defense, kind of where we're at with that. So I still think we have a lot to work on, which is good, right? That we're figuring out ways to win ball games, but I still feel like we have plenty. That's probably just a third of the list, if I'm being honest with you. But yeah.
Since you've come in and taken over this program, you said you want to have a lineup that can win in a variety of ways. Just how much do you feel like y'all are executing in that part of the game right now?
Yeah, I think we're doing a tremendous job in that, honestly. I think that's one of our strengths is you feel like you could take a deep breath and then you get KK and Frankie who are like tearing it up, We have the ability to short game you, we have the ability to long ball you, and then we have an ability just to be a pain in your butt, And so Kramer Eshte, I think, is a great example of that, somebody that's been super consistent for us and just has turned over that lineup. Like when you get somebody in that 9-hole that's consistently turning that lineup over, she had another great weekend. Allie Enright had another great weekend. And so I think what's really good is that there's different parts of our lineup that are stepping up. For us to do what we did without Coco, I think says a lot. Coco, I had her make sure that our defense was in position that last game, talking some of those things. So she's really helped kind of not only on the field, but she's helped off the field and growing the program and getting it to where we're at right now. But I think overall what I'm most pleased with is that our ability that even if, I don't know, Maya's having an off day or Mac's having an off day, like we have 4 or 5 other hitters that are stepping up to the plate. It was nice to see Mac get back to Mac things, Maya has been very consistent and just tremendous this whole, I would say, pre-conference series. So, I think that we are a nightmare.
Maya got her first SEC of the week honors. Just how have you seen her confidence grow throughout the fall and now to where she's hitting over 500 on a weekend?
Yeah, I think she's just more comfortable in her skin. I mean, sometimes it just takes freshman year's hard, right? And I have one that I'm trying to prepare right now at home. And so I think, you don't understand all the different changes, how much of a different level of a game it is. But this is the Maya Perez that I knew she is. I know she is, and I knew that she was. And so I think her now just understanding what this game, what it takes, the preparation, the work. She's, came back in shape. Some of those things. I think she's really prepared herself to have a successful season.
The 2-out hitting this weekend
Yeah.
is ridiculous. I mean, what does it say about your team that,
Yeah.
Hunter is never out of the netting?
I think that's the grit, right? That's our fight. That's one of our core principles in this program. I think, when you get to 2 outs, you're like, all right, just one more, like we're out of this inning. And I think that is very wearing on an opposing pitcher, an opposing team, is like, we just can't get out of this inning. And so I love that. I think that really shows kind of our true colors, our DNA of like, we want to make it really, really hard for opposing pitchers.
Just how excited are you to be back
Home,
and,
yes.
how do you feel about the competition that's going to be there this weekend?
Yeah, another very tough weekend. I don't think we've had a weekend where we didn't have several teams that I felt pretty stressed about. So, Texas State is always a thorn in our side. Ricky does a tremendous job year in, year out. She'll tell you she doesn't have Mullins. They're still winning lots of ball games. Obviously they have 2 players that we're really familiar with that are high-level players, and so they're going to be very, very good. We're going to have Texas Tech here, who is a top. I don't know where they are right now, but they're for sure a top 20 team, probably top 15. Whenever you have Nyjah on the mound, you got a shot, and so she's going to be hard. But that's what this game's about, right? Who embraces the hard, who can overcome some of those, the hard, right? The hard calls, the hard plays, the hard pitches. And so, it'll be a good weekend. We're going to face them twice. So, we're going to have a game plan, and then we'll adjust accordingly. And then you have 3 other teams that we're going to play that are also, Princeton usually is that Ivy League champion. So they have a great program. They have for many, many years. George Washington is going to feature Allison Heffley, which is Coach Heff's daughter. So there'll be some extra energy, I'm sure, on her part to bring to the table. And then Idaho State, Andrew Rich, who is their head coach, used to be my GA at Fresno State. So a lot of connecting pieces this weekend with obviously a very high level of competition.
So where is Kennedy's game? I watch her on TV, and maybe I expect her to be a little better than what she is, but then I look at her numbers are good. So where is Kennedy?
You're talking about lefty, I'm assuming, yeah. Because of Kennedy Powell, that's why, yeah. I'm actually very pleased with where it's at, honestly. It's a very different year for her. And what I mean by that is everybody's prepping for Emily Kennedy, right? Like, she's our dog. And so I think there's some things, some little tweaks that she's going to make in this next couple of weeks. But if you really watch that game that she threw Florida State, there was not a lot of hard hit balls. But I think if we can execute a couple more things, those turn into really swings and misses and not, they were like C&I ground balls or C&I, flares. Issa Torres got a hold of one ball, but I think other than that was kind of it. So, although she is a senior, I still feel like she's young in kind of her process, and meaning like learning, and she's working really hard to get better and better each game. And that's why I put her back out there, because if I said, you're my high leverage kid, if I have confidence in anybody in this staff, it's you. And so she did a great job, I think, coming in and closing out that game and closing out the Southeastern game. Again, very high leverage situation. So honestly, I've been really happy with her, and I think she's just had some unlucky, things happen, and I think she's handling it well.
I know you said you've got a list, but
Yes.
is there anything just like overarching that you want to see from your group this weekend with SEC play literally next weekend?
Yeah. Like overarching, I think there's some things defensively we can clean up. I've really liked our approach in the batter's box. Obviously, there's always some things that we could get better. Our short game, I was giving KP a hard time, we'll call it, because if she didn't get that squeeze down, she was having bunting practice for sure anyways this week, because she's been in a little bit of a rush. Her feet get super fast. So, her and I will talk about that timing a little bit, but I think overall we're starting to really move in a good direction. Obviously, as a coach, I'm always nitpicking. Jeff came up to our office a little bit prior to this, and he was laughing. He's like, "Did you forget you went 5-0?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's not about that. It's really about what do we have left to do? What's on our docket?" And the good thing is if we're not trying to get better, then we're getting worse. And so there's really no in between in my head. So that's where I feel like greatness lives, right? Is you're always trying to tweak and get better and feel uncomfortable.
With just having Texas Tech ranked last weekend, Florida State, Oklahoma State, just do you like how you aligned this non-SEC slate so far and that's prepared your team well? Yeah,
well, I told you guys at the beginning that Coach Harger put this together, so I was either going to give him credit or blame it on him. So it has worked out well. I did tell him that it's, I feel like I haven't slept in about 4 weeks, so I feel like a zombie. But it's been good. It's good for our team. They're a confident group, and so I think it continually puts us in pressure situations that's good for us because that's all that conference play is. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Anybody can beat anybody, and I think we see that from top to bottom. And so it's going to prep us. I mean, our home slate for conference play is brutal this year in a good way. And so I think it's gonna help us in the long run. So I've been pleased with it so far. Prior to the season, I was giving him evil eye, but yeah.